today we'll learn about some of the core concepts of the Apex. We will just clips from this document and we'll learn only those things which are required for us. Okay. So whenever you are writing the code, so as you know, there are two types of programming languages into the world. Like one is object oriented, one is the functional programming. Okay. So functional programming, it is like you are writing the programs and you are going to use the functions based on whenever there is new requirement, you will write down new functions. Okay, that is like a functional programming. Then you have concept of, and C is the best example of that part. Then you have the object oriented programming. So C++ has started this one. Then Java is the next go ahead with the object-oriented programming, then Apex and other languages following that one. So what do we mean by object-oriented programming? So object-oriented programming means at the center of your development in the code will be the object, and object is nothing, anything in the world, anyone you see, like you, me, the animals, the living things or non-living beings, anything, they all can be called the object. Okay. And objects, suppose I am the object, so human is the one object, and you want to know about me, so as a human I will initialize and will say this is Ravikant. Then we have the very similar specifications, like we have the eyes, legs, we walk, we talk, right? So eyes, legs, they are like a variables for us, constant variables you can say. So they are like a properties for us, and then you have some functions, like you are talking, you are walking, you are running. So these are the functions we perform. Okay. Same way, whenever you're defining the object oriented programming language, so you are going to define the object. So how you will define the object? You have to write down the class. Okay. So how will be the structure of the class? So we'll see very quickly. Okay, I'm just sharing the whiteboard. So your class having some structures, like the, it will start with the name class, then you give some name of the class. Okay, so you will say demo class or human class, anything. The object you can give that, and then you have the curly bracket which will close and start. Then after, there are some modifier, so which will tell that class is publicly used or can be only privately used. So these specifications will be there then. So these all are called the modifier, public and other stuffs. And this is the object. Okay. So class is one object, and we see this is the name of the object. Then it will have some properties and some functions. Okay. So suppose a demo class, so it will give us some variables like boolean variable. It's say is demo done. Okay, and then after we can define some value or we can put some value, totally depends on us. So this is like a property for that one. Okay, even if you don't want to do this all, you can make it null. Oh, sorry. Okay, if I'll take this as human class, so we'll say has leg, then we will say has head. Okay, Then these are the properties. Then we have the functions, like they talk. Okay, so we'll say they talk. Okay, so let's stop here and we'll understand this structure of the class. Okay, so first thing first, this public, this is modifier, and it will tell us the access of the class. So if this is public, means other classes, other object can call them. Then you are defining class, so this will be the name of the class and you have to keep the syntax class. Okay, so this grammar you have to follow whenever you are writing class, and start curly bracket, close curly bracket. Then after, inside the classes, if some variables are there, we will say them properties, and where there will be some functions, methods. Okay, for that class. Now we have to we were understanding what are the variables. Okay, you're okay with the characteristics and what will be their behavior. So characteristics of human, they have legs, they have head. Characteristics of human, sorry, behavior of human, they can talk, they can walk, etc. Correct. So this way you will just understand the object, and in object oriented programming we see all the classes is like a object representation of that object. In this case we have taken human, so human has some characteristics, so we will give them the characteristics, and human has some behavior like they will talk, walk, run, so those will be the functions or methods. Okay, so this will call the methods. Somebody are saying the functions. We will not discuss what is method and function, that will be very deep actually. So we'll just know this is the called the method of functions, and these are called the variables. Okay, these all two are called the variables. All right, so whatever characteristics will be there, they are called the variables. Whatever behavior will be there, they will be called functions. Fine. So that default part will come to that one, that was very specific to trigger in the Salesforce. Okay, and this is general concept in all the object oriented programming, not only the Apex. Even if you go by the Java, you will learn the same thing. Okay, so just if you confusing about the variables, because might be this is the first time you are hearing this variable part, then you can simply say any object is the class. Okay, and like a human, so they will have some characteristics like they have head, they have legs, so you will say those will be the variables. Okay, and you will say whenever they have behavior means they will run, walk, talk, the actions they can perform, those are called the behavior, so those will be the methods or the functions. Clear? Okay, now same thing we'll look into the Apex part. So I'm going to share the Apex screen once again. All right, so same on the Apex part, the core concept is saying what is Apex, again the programming language, backend programming language. Then you have these characteristics num, x. Okay, so these are called the variables, and these are called the type of characteristics. Like has leg, that is you are asking that human has leg, and we have say, if say number of legs, so there are difference between has legs and number of legs. Again coming back to our whiteboard. All right, so okay, so this is the challenge, and we are saying this all. Come on. Okay, anyway, fine. Now we were talking about, so what types of variable this is? Means has leg, has head. It means we are just asking the question if that human has leg or not, that human has head or not. Okay, so this will be type of yes or no type, and in the programming language we are calling them the boolean. Okay, now we'll say how many legs. Okay, how many hands. All right, so whenever you are asking this question that how many legs you have, how many hands that human has, so you are asking that you want some numbers, correct? So in Apex we have the integer for them. We are calling that number via the integer. Okay, if some currencies or the decimal point, like you got the 2.98.99 marks in your mathematics subject, so that will be like decimal. Okay, then you have very large number of numbers, means the very big numbers, then you will have the float. So you will learn these all things once you read the document, but basic part we will cover here, like the boolean. You are asking the questions about the characteristic of that object. Just even if confused somewhere, simply think about the human, and think about human has some characteristics. You are asking the question like has leg, has hands, so you will say okay, these are like yes no, so we'll say boolean. If they are type of number, we'll say the integer. If they are type of string, like name, okay, so we'll say my name is, so whatever name you want to give, so that will be the text type. Okay, my address is, so whatever type it will be in the text format. Okay, so text is called the string. We are not simply calling text, we are calling the string. Okay, so this is how you will define, and this all boolean, integer, string, they are called the data type. This document you will read that okay, what is array, what is controller structure, what is DML. So these things are there. You will read about this one and get more familiarities. Okay, now we are very much okay with the variables. Now we are giving some more concise definition of variable. So we'll say variable is a container, as we have discussed yesterday. Now we are coming back, means we are moving our vehicle at the same place. So now we are again saying variable is a container. Here you can see you define the variable, you are assigning the some value. So it means this is container, that's why you are assigning some value. Okay, even if you are creating the variable of array, again that's going to contain some value. Okay, multiple records you can contain. Okay, now we will take few more things in the Salesforce. Okay, that is very specific. We'll not talk about this version settings, we'll see that one once we'll do. So here you can see they have defined the variables. You will do as well. Where you will do, you have the developer console and you have the LMS window. You will write your code and you will run and you will see the result as well on the fly. Okay, then in Apex there are something called the statement. Okay, you want to perform some control, you want to perform some filters, how you are going to do that. Okay, so first thing first, you are writing one expression control. Okay, the statement, so you see these all are called the statement. One liner is like a statement, and how they are ending, they're ending with the semicolon. Again the syntax, very basic, people are not defining this one, but very basic. When Salesforce is given, so we are just going through that whatever statements are there, they're ending with the semicolon. Okay, so here yeah, so here it is. Okay, then we have the statement type of the conditional type. So in conditional type, it will be if or else. So how you are going to define the conditions? So this is the way you will define if else. Then you want the loop, means multiple records you want to access. Then you have the loops, and we have the loops. Forget about these two. We just learn about the for loop. That you just know. Okay, there is one for loop. We will talk about that only. Once you are very much familiar with for loop, using that one you can write on your own with your confidence. Then after we'll learn about the do while and the while loop, and even if we will not discuss about the differences between them now, we will discuss at that moment only once you are very much familiar with the for loop. Now we learn about the a statement that you either you can assign some values, or you can simply write down one statement. It can be the conditional type, it can be the loops, and other things we are not going to discuss, like the looping data manipulation language. We will see that one. Now you will might have heard about the collections or not. So these words actually Salesforce has taken from the Java. Even Java, there are multiple collections. Okay, and in Java they are called the um, data structure. Okay, like node, then they have the map. Okay, so they have different types of collections. Salesforce has very, you can say, the generic one. So concept is from Java only, but they have taken very generic one, and they have just three types of collections. When we are saying collections, so of course you are collecting. So like somebody has collections of book, means he has many books of the same type. Same way, collections where we are storing the same type of values. Okay, so there are three types of collections where we'll store our values, and you have to remember this one. There is no other way. You have to remember one way. If you're not practicing, if you will practice, this will be the uh, day by day for you. Okay, so there are three types of collections: list, map, sets. Okay, very basic differences we learn, and we'll start using. Then after we learn more differences between them. List is like an array. Okay, even the set is like an array. Difference is set will not have duplicate, list may have the duplicate. Map, this is key and value, means there will be one key and alongside there will be one value. Like, so there is one cricket match and there are 11 players. Okay, they all batted in a match. So we'll want that. Okay, Sachin, he has scored 56. Kongli, he has scored 42. Likewise, Rahul Dravid has scored a century. So you will have the one key. Key is, in this case, key is the name of the player, and value is the score. Okay, so you will have the key value, then you are going to use the map. That's it. We are not going to discuss any more differences between them. All right, we learn about that once we are comfortable about these collections. Okay, now how to define these all things, don't worry about that. Once we'll do, you will see there. Forget about the if conditions, branching, forget about that. Just know conditional part you want to put. Then we have the something called if else. Just remember, we have something called if else. How to use, we will see. Then if you want to perform some loop, so you know that okay, there is something for loop. Don't remember about the do while and while. We'll do that once you are very much okay with for loop. That's it from this page. Okay, when should I use the apex? Same, it's saying the same thing. When you should use, first thing first, you always remember whatever you can use the configuration, go by that configuration. Only those things which are not achievable by the configuration, then only you are going to write down the apex. Then there are multiple types of Apex. Again, you have to think what you are going to do with the Apex. Okay, that's it. Nothing else on this page. Then how does Apex works? You will read about this theory. You will write the C code, okay, and you try to save. So what will happen? That is called the compiler. Okay. So not the compiler. You will say the interpreter. It is just check the syntax that all the syntax are correct or not. All right. Then after once your syntax is fine, then you are running your C code. So you have some tools like Bean or something. There you will run your C code. So for moment you just understand that okay, that is like a you can say machines where we are utilizing our C code. So compiler it will just check the syntax. So whatever syntax we are learning, that conditional if else is there. For loop we have something called for. So they have some syntax and interpreter will just check the syntax. Okay, once you run it will utilize the machine. So machine is nothing, just the if you are using the you can say cloud computing, it will call the servers. Okay, backend servers on the cloud. Then even your machines will run there. Then after it will compile them and convert those code into the bitwise, like it is convert into bit format 1 and 0. So whatever code you have written, you will convert into 1 and 0, and that machine language the machine will understand that okay, it will compile. So you write down the code, interpreter will check the syntax, then after it will save. Once you run the machine, the server, it will compile your code into 1 0. It will send to the machine and will understand how what to do. It will perform that action and result again, that is into 1 and 0. It will again convert it back and return into the language which you have written. So if you have written into the Apex, it will return into the Apex language. So this is the basic concept of Apex. In this case, what's happening? We have learned about the generic one, that how our interpreter, compiler, and server are going to work the machines. Now we are going to learn about the Salesforce, the cloud computing platforms, how they are working. So you are a developer, you are sitting at your machine, okay, and then after you write down some classes. So what will happen? The interpreter, your tools, it will check the syntax, and here it is not written the interpreter, but there is interpreter always, and it will compile your code and send to the server. Compiled, it means it will convert your code into 1 and 0, which is this is the language understandable by the machine. So after compiling, your code is converted into 1 and 0 format. It will go to the server. Server, as you are writing the Apex code, you have to call the database. So again, that compiled code will call the database. It will return some value into the Apex part. Okay. Then after it will return here. If something error, your machines will throw the error, as the interpreter will throw the error. Even the compilers will throw the error from there. And error, interpreter error will be visible at the moment. Compiler error, it will come from the server to your machine. So it will take some time. Not very much time. It is like microns of the time. It will take milliseconds. Fine. If something is successful, then it will compile back and return it into the language which you have written. Okay, and as a user, so you have written the code you are running, and or somebody else is running that code, so they will see the result.